So, so I'm Brandon Farmer, and this is Midnight Ride Media with the Tavern Tactics Media Family LLC, and we are launching our inaugural artist spotlight, where we are diving in and taking a look at and picking the minds and kind of going over the creative process of some of the big talents in and around the region throughout East Kentucky and into Appalachia. And today, we are launching our first episode with, a pair of people that are fantastic at what they do, fantastic talents, fantastic voices, musicians, and really, really fantastic songwriters. So I have with me here Miss Sarah Beth Terry and Mr. Jared Smith.
Howdy, hi.
Hello.
And as I said, bear with me. This is episode 1, so I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm going to pretend like I do.
Well,
so.
We're just tickled to be here.
Yeah, no, I'm tickled to have you guys, and I really appreciate y'all driving down. And first, before we even get started, I want to give a big shout out to Pickup Country 104.9 WSKV. Ethan Moore opening up his space to us. We are actually coming at you in this episode 1 in the Irvin studio, and it is comfortable, plenty of legroom. It's fantastic, audio friendly, and I'm really happy to be here. So, thank you, Ethan. I appreciate that. So anyway, guys, would you care to introduce yourselves? Where you're from, and we'll kind of get started there and kind of go back to childhood and biggest fears.
All that fun stuff.
All that, yeah.
Birthdays. I'm Sarah Beth Terry, or the Queen Bee, as I make people call me. I'm from right here in Irvin. I grew up here and from West Irvin, actually, right across the river. And this was the first station that played my music, so it's tickled to be it's like full circle.
Oh, yeah.
But I left home at 18 just to get in it and went to Transy, and then left Transy and went to Nashville, and then got married real quick and went to Louisiana, went to Italy, and went to Fort Campbell, and I was like, I'm good, I'm done. I'm done with all that. So now we're traveling the roads, and I think we've put 25,000 miles on the truck this year.
Wow.
And we're just parking in West Virginia for the time being. So we're home to see Mom and Daddy this weekend, so I'm glad this worked out.
So how'd you end up in West Virginia?
I fell in love with a boy from West Virginia, and, I kind of believe in that where you go, I will go thing. And
Hey, I dig it.
I said, let's go do this.
That's right. We'll circle back to that, too. So, Jared, you care to introduce yourself?
Well, after following all that, mine's a little lackluster. My name's Jared Smith. I'm from Powell County. For those that don't know, if you've heard of the Red River Gorge, we're about 15 minutes away from all of that. I've been writing songs for, I guess, probably the last 25 years. Just recently recorded my first EP. Been lucky enough to have WSKV to come on board and start playing some of my stuff as well. That's a big step.
Streaming platforms.
It is available on all streaming platforms. Anywhere you can find music, you can find my songs. The first 2 singles are That's Where She'll Be Found and the DQ song.
The DQ song,
I
man.
love the DQ song.
We're circling back to the DQ
They're
song
both
for
good,
sure.
but I always find myself tapping along quicker to the DQ song.
The DQ song captures the spirit of Powell County, I think, better than anything I've ever heard. I was like, that
Jared
is.
came and played with me a couple weeks ago, and I said, get up and play your new single. And the girl came running outside. I was having a smoke break. I could hear him in my in-ears when I was outside. And I heard this girl come outside. She goes, where's my people? And I was like, what? And she told me, she goes, they's playing the DQ song. We all work at Dairy Queen. Get in here. So 30 women just come running in from the parking lot, putting out their cigarettes, going, that's that DQ song. And I said, Jared's got a bunch of groupies. And they didn't even bring us any dilly bars or nothing. So maybe that should be your thing, if you bring us some ice cream, you get a free CD or something.
Well, maybe I could get cheeseburgers for life or
Well,
something.
if they could sponsor you and LA sponsors me, and then we could get this show on
Co-sponsor.
the road, right?
Yeah, because they serve LA.
Hey, excited.
The Dairy Queen sponsoring the deal.
Hey, throw some sponsors this way.
Right.
We
We all get there better together, okay?
Exactly. Teamwork makes the dream work.
That's what I hear.
I don't know what it is about DQ, though, man. Kind of circling back to, I guess, to my personal experience. I mean, DQ is kind of like the mecca of Powell County. I mean, you talk about just kind of the gathering place. I mean, that's where all business is conducted, all illicit business, all legit business. I mean, people meet there. People, I can't tell you how many interviews I've had there just for the paper. I mean, it's just the spot to go. But going back to high school, it really was a creative and kind of influential hub to music. I mean, we had a 6 or 7 piece string band in high school. And I wouldn't call us a band, really. It was just kind of us getting together, just picking around. A gathering. DQ was the place to go. We had about 3 guitarists. We had a fiddle player, and we had a guy with a stand-up double bass.
There's that.
And the parking lot of the DQ, jamming to the people going through there and ordering the chicken strip baskets.
I think that's what your song's about.
But yeah, it's
Sort of. I was
about finding
trying
love.
to order something else off the menu.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you try to-
I do have to say that every time we come through Clay City, I do love the DQ sign that says free straw with every drink purchased. God bless. God bless. And I'm like, I love their sign, and every time we stop and get so tickled, we never do take a picture of it.
No, yeah. Finding love though, man, at DQ, I'm telling you, that's a real story.
I was trying to. I thought I was going to succeed, but it didn't work.
No work.
But I'm all the better for it now. So
It's
Melted your little ice cream heart.
it did. Yeah, turned it to soft serve.
I love it.
That's the sequel to the DQ song coming next year.
I love it. Oh yeah, no DQ song, man.
Rocky Road.
Rocky Road.
I'm sorry, we digress.
No, it's great. So I'm actually pretty new to listening to your music. Just hearing you, for the fresh ears for the first time. Sarah, I've listened to for years. I think first time I ever saw you play live, you were I think Reed Fields opened for you over in Moorhead.
Oh wow, that's been a while back.
And Reed Field's actually on deck to be one of my upcoming episodes.
I love Reed. Man, he
great.
is so stinking talented.
Yes,
and he was
awesome guy.
He took over a couple of my songwriters' nights when we moved, and he's really kicked it into like high gear.
Oh, yeah.
Especially that one at Vansburg, man. I'm really tickled with
He's
him.
fantastic, and just the fact that he's had so much influence and influenced by Chris Knott, and just like so much part of that creative side. I think that's really cool. That's a whole different thing.
Well, I mean, if you look at it from that perspective, just follow in that vein for a second.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a Wikipedia nerd. Like, we're on the road, I'm looking up stuff. I'm like, Ohio River, and then where does that go? And where does this go? I'm always like, and it leads to the arm bone, which is connected to the leg bone. And I'm looking at it going, okay, it's kind of like that in Kentucky. Like, we all have this mainstream of music that we're trying to hit into.
Yeah.
But you've got this creek backwalker storyteller batch, and then you've got kind of the mainstream hit it, and some of them had some success, some of them have already come back home. And then you've got this like Appalachian storyteller a little further down to the mountains. Like, it's all these little tributaries.
I was about to say tributary. That's
and
great.
I'm looking at it going, why in the hell?
Yeah.
If we can say that on the podcast.
Yeah, you're good.
Is there all these little beavers trying to dam up our creeks? Like, you see what I'm saying? I'm looking at it going, we can all work together and float along, and it'd be just fine. But I think there's just so much. We're just holding back our water, I think.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that, because that was the whole purpose of the series. It's just to talking to as many artists as I can, in and about the region, not even just in Appalachian, Eastern Kentucky, but going like
just doing
because Chris is from Slaughter. I think he's from Western Kentucky. But if you follow those threads, you follow those lines, and see how the geographic part of it influences these artists and these writers. Because you go the further east you go and the deeper into the mountains, you're going to see some real. That's when the murder ballads start.
You start laying on the edge of bluegrass. Yeah, and it's awesome because it's like you said, we've got this like John Prine, Chris storytellers down in Western Kentucky, and it gets kind of Central Kentucky, and you've got. We had the Backstreet Boys.
Yeah.
We got two of them from right here in the bluegrass.
Yeah,
and you're looking at that. Same, like it hits right through bluegrass country, it hits right through Montgomery Jr., John Michael. Yeah. And then you get to Eastern Kentucky with people like Stapleton and Carly Pierce, and then you got the Judds. So it follows that. There's a reason why there's a country music highway in our state. And I'm looking at it going, there's so much that, like, we don't even really need to go to Nashville. Like, there's just so much right here, and the stage is big enough for everybody.
It is, and there's such a renaissance coming out of this region right now. Anyway, and just like the collaborative influence that just kind of that spans generations too. I mean, John Prine is one of my all-time. He's the GOAT. I mean, he's the tippy top. He's the godfather of this whole thing. And I don't think that's disputed by anybody.
No.
He was
our answer to Bob Dylan.
Rest in peace.
Like they had Bob Dylan, we had John Prine.
Prine, man. Oh God, Prine all day, every day. But it really is fascinating to kind of see how the creative influence kind of ties together, and just, I mean, even Powell County alone, if you go back, decades, we spawned Lily Mae Ledford. Mm-hmm. And, just kind of see what she contributed there into the zeitgeist, I guess you'd say, of the music culture. And everybody, the thing about it is, like, you like, was it the bacon number thing? You give a name, and like there's like just like a hop and a skip away from pretty much every prolific artist in this region. Everybody's kind of connected, threaded together.
Oh, it's all a big Venn diagram.
Oh, it's awesome.
It looks just like your family tree if you're from this state. But it's right there together.
But it's that you got the Prines, you got the Ledfords, you got
the Monroes,
you got the Monroes, you got the J.D. Crows, you got
I
mean you got
Hanningtons.
Oh God,
the Judds.
I mean, but all that it's that amalgamation of just like all this like separate talent that's kind of meshed and formed into like what we have now. And I think that's what's contributed to this renaissance. We're in the golden era right now of music coming out of Appalachia. I mean, of course, this generation, they see Tyler. That's kind of their thing, I guess. Before him, Chris kind of brought it to the mainstream. Sturgill, man. I mean, Sturgill's been around for a while.
He's the OG as far as that's
yes, but between in that trio, Sturgill, for sure.
I mean, look at how lucky we are, though, in our generation, that a lot of these songs and a lot of these artists and a lot of this music was so familiar and so reminiscent of each other.
Yeah.
Because that's all there was. Like, that's all there was that you were exposed to in town centers, on the radio, what was regional to you. And now, because of the phone in our hand, we have access to every genre, every artist, so you're hearing this resurgence of 90s country, this resurgence of the Emmylou Harris and the Bonnie Raitt.
Yeah, I love it.
And Patti Loveless sounds are coming back. And I'm going, that's because you finally have access to it. I mean, how many kids do we know growing up had a CDs other than what they stole out of their parents' tape deck?
Exactly.
So it was we still picking out, 10 CDs for $1 on Columbia House that I still owe money to, I'm sure.
Yeah, same here.
Well, it's just like, you take 40, 50 years ago, people like me were going out and standing in front of radio stations in towns and beating the doors down to try to get in to record an album and get it to where they could put it on the radio and be heard. That's where you come up with your Johnny Cashes and all those people.
Elvis Presley.
Elvis, all those influential people from that time. They beat the doors down to get their stuff heard.
Look at Loretta. I mean, they did the first radio tour.
And now, like you said, we've got a computer in our phone, and it's nothing to go to a studio somewhere and record your album and then go, through DistroKid or someplace like that and put your stuff out there, and it goes worldwide.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's completely different than what it used to be.
Well, I've heard the buddy of ours that's in the industry down in Nashville. We had lunch with him a while back, and he said it's funny to me that when this first started, if you want to get into mainstream, you had to have a port. You had to have a dock.
Yeah.
And you better have a way to get that boat into the water. He said, now there's just these little kayak places popping up all over. You can just drop in wherever you want to into the stream. And I said, it's a blessing and a curse because it gets real oversaturated real quick.
It does.
But it does introduce you to a whole bevy of new boats that you would have never seen had they not gotten in the water. So it's a double-edged sword.
Yeah, it is. And the digital, I'm sorry.
You're fine.
I said the digital age really has kind of offered that, that opportunity to kind of really, distribute in a way that, we couldn't do before. I still think that, local media has come so underrated. I mean,
it is.
Ethan providing platform, and I'm not sure what his coverage is, Powell County and the surrounding areas. I mean, it's at least an 8-county radius, isn't it?
We can hear you all the way, basically. Where we start getting spotty is about Olive Field.
Yeah.
So, on our way back to West Virginia. But I love that because, if you're like us, your phone loses service coming around the mountain.
Yeah.
And I love that I can tune in, and sometimes I'll hear me, I'll hear you, I'm like, oh, I know that guy, I know this girl. And it's such a cool feeling to, some people wait their whole life to hear themselves on the radio.
Yeah.
So you've kind of made those dreams come true for a lot of us.
Exactly.
That would have never had that airplay. Even if it's to the 8 counties that we get to. I mean, how many people
it's
listen
awesome.
and they can tune in online now? And I mean, it's a whole new fan base just thanks to Ethan alone.
Well, and there's so many people that they don't really go to their streaming platforms to listen to music. You've got a certain age group that, they're still listening to the radio stations, and they're still getting their songs and their information and being introduced to different stuff by the radio stations. True. And, to discount radio stations, this day and time, they're still as popular and as beneficial as what they ever were.
Oh, so, absolutely. And I don't think it's going anywhere anytime soon. People have, said that about, all kinds of media, just.
Well, I mean, records are coming back, for the love of God. I mean, they said vinyl will be gone forever, and now that's like the hottest commodity. I'm like, didn't we just get rid of a bunch of things at Goodwill for like nothing?
It's like I've got my Facebook, and it's on there that I do music and stuff. I keep getting these things wanting me to go to these different websites to order vinyl records.
Yeah. It's
press your own record.
And those vinyl cuts are such an art form in and of itself, and it's just like, and just for one, just the beauty of it to hold in your hands. You just got that gritty sound, just as it scratches. But then, like, you take it a step further, and like another West Virginia girl, Sierra Farrell, man, she is one of my artists. I mean, she's one of my crushes. I mean, she really is. I love her voice and just kind of what she's done and what she's brought back and resurrected in her sound. But I don't know if she still does it, but one of her big things was she always cut her records in Memphis because it was like the last of the that type of I guess studio setup was in Memphis, Tennessee. So she would go out of her way to kind of capture that very specific sound that she was looking for. And I just always admired that. I thought that was the coolest thing. And now she, I saw her on like some small stages, and now she's like up for Grammys and stuff. And
oh yeah, and I love
so cool.
that she's basically a walking dichotomy.
Yeah.
I mean, you listen to her and you're thinking you're going to see June Carter Cash come out on stage, and then you're like, okay, she's got on a headdress today, and I love them boots because I have a pair too. And then she's tatted like I am, and I'm going, I love that she's throwing everybody off kilter, because when they finally see her for the first time, they're like, that's where that voice is coming from. Mm-hmm. And I love that. I love that that's coming back. Like that whole.
Well, she's Mountain Lady Gaga.
Oh, isn't she?
I mean, she's awesome. Gosh. She's awesome.
Well, nothing against the pretty people, but it seems like that with music, it took a turn there for a little while, that the prettier you were, the more profitable you were to promote and to get out there.
Yeah.
And now with the social medias, and you're being able to put stuff on streaming platforms, you're not really seen before you're heard. Yeah. So it kind of puts a different light on the artist. You're actually, if your songs are legitimately good stuff and people like them, they like them for that, and not, well, that guy's really cute, or that girl, she's hot, she dresses really neat, whatever it might be.
The focus is on the art, and not, not the marketability of the face. I mean,
it kind of goes back to the Pepsi Clear method. They got a little greedy, and they were like, look how beautiful this is. And then everybody's like, go back to original Pepsi. Mm-hmm. So, it's that we had our little shiny moment. We had our little bromance with Bro Country, and we had the Blonde Revolution is what I called it. It was the Carrie Underwood, Taylor Swift, Miranda Lambert, Julianne Hough.
I'm trying to bring in the Bald Revolution.
Well, I was like, that's when I got to Nashville, and they looked at me and they said, you don't need to be a singer. You need to be a songwriter, because none of them write.
Well, okay, let's step into that. So you were in Nashville as a songwriter.
I was there to start out as an artist, and after about a year of watching the game show winners come to town, I was like, I'm gonna write. There seems to be more money in this, and I jumped in head first and wrote with the big boys, and that's what I kind of identified as, and then I fell in love with it. So I got to kind of mastering the science of it.
That's very cool, because in Powell County, I don't know if you've kind of seen it marketed or advertised. There's what we have is Nashville on the Gorge now, and I've covered the first two. I'm just kind of did the media for them for the first two shows, so I got to talk to Billy Montana, awesome. and just to pick the brains of these songwriters and stuff. It is such a fascinating thing, and these circles that they bring to town. It really was, and like how I marketed it for Greg, Greg Bates. Whenever I was kind of getting the word out for him and getting it and advertised, it was like, it really is a new way to kind of experience and enjoy music. I mean, there's something about those songwriter sessions and kind of hearing music the way it was written and how it's delivered the way it was supposed to be. I mean, Billy Montana wrote Suds in a Bucket. I mean, to hear a man, sing Suds in a Bucket and just absolutely kill it. I mean, it's phenomenal, kind of.
Oh yeah, and it just makes a different story. It's all about the interpretation.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It just shows that a good song is a good song is a good song.
Yeah.
So I mean, look at Tennessee Whiskey, how many revolutions that's had since Dave Duncan wrote it. I mean, good Lord,
exactly.
4 different versions before it finally hit gold, and I'm like, well, just it took the right delivery at the right time. It just goes to show that preacher may preach the same sermon every Sunday, but one Sunday it's going to talk to the right sinner. Right. So you just you keep going. Mm-hmm. But,
Tennessee Whiskey. Each version of that song was a good version.
Oh,
there was nothing wrong with it, but they're not in day different. And it just appeals to those different.
What's another one? I was just listening to another song that was like that. Suspicious Minds, Dwight Yoakam. Mm-hmm. I mean, just his version of it was like such a unique take, but it's probably one of the most prolific takes. I mean, of that song. But every version of the song was a banger of its own. And just like so, it's awesome. Kind of like how you can do that as an artist and as as a performer, and just like you take the exact same content and just kind of mold it into something completely different and completely unique.
Well, the message still stands. It stands, takes a new voice to tell it, you know, so.
Yeah.
Well, and a lot of the older songs that you listen to, you go back and listen to like Merle Haggard and some of those guys, those songs back in the day, the stories that they tell are still as relevant today as what they were whenever they recorded them 50 or 60 years ago.
Changed the vocabulary a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. Well, especially in the plot of Appalachia, man, you capture the tragedy, the beautiful tragedy of Appalachia. I mean, it don't matter what generation you're in over the last 100 years, you're going to get, a lot of the same crossover and a lot of the same stories. But at the same time, it's, like you said, just as relevant as it was back then.
Yeah.
And that's why I love to cover this region. I mean, for one, obviously, I'm a proud Appalachian. I love living here, love being here. Love being part of the mountains. come from a family of moonshiners. You know, it's just,
yeah.
you know, we're deep in that life, you know, so deep in the mountains.
You didn't bring us any for this?
No, I mean, I'm still finding,
Really keep it PG.
I'm still finding Pappy
sorry.
Stills every now and then, but I ain't found a functional piece of copper yet, so.
Well, in this neck of the woods, that's as hard to come by.
Yeah, good luck finding copper right
I
here.
love the big, huge rolls on the Southern that says fiber, not copper. And I'm like, you know, you're in Eastern Kentucky, you win.
Oh yeah. So Sarah, you were a songwriter in Nashville. So how long was you doing that down there?
I'm still doing it. So
So you're still involved. Okay.
So 20. I gotta think what year we're in. 22. I'm not. I started when I was 5 years old. 22 years now. I've been writing in Nashville.
Very cool.
And just got Bluegrass Song of the Year with the Goodwin Brothers. So that was really cool.
Congratulations.
I saw that.
And,
Yes.
thank you.
Very cool.
And we were laughing because the BMI royalties came in today. You get paid on whatever day today is.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's a bump. And I was like looking at it. It's like, oh, that gospel song I wrote for the Gaithers. That's hit a surge. You never know. Like I had at one time, I had a song about Jesus and a song about cocaine by two different artists. And they were both charting at the same time. I'm like,
I love it though, man.
all right,
That's awesome.
You know, I'll take it. But neither of them bought me a boat, but it's fine. It's fine. They
You
can
get
think.
there. Like I said, like all these songwriters I've got a chance to talk to, you know, in that songwriter series, you know, which really just been a couple so far, but they have that one song that bought them their house. You know, what was the last filler's name? He wrote the one that was just here. I can't remember now. I apologize.
You're fine.
He wrote "Sparrows in a Hurricane." That was his song, and like obviously Suds in the Bucket bought Billy's house. But it's so neat to kind of explore that part of it, and I really hope you come up and do one of those sessions. I think it'd be cool.
I think it'd be really fun.
It'd be great. So the Goodwin brothers, yeah, they've actually been on deck for me too. I actually just talked to Goose Goodwin on the phone a couple days
Lord,
ago.
I love Goose.
Goose is the man. Because I was trying to do them in tandem. I was trying to catch the brothers, you know, whenever they're close, you know, because their tour is aggressive.
Oh yeah.
They're aggressive. So I'm trying to catch them in a regionally convenient place, and I was going to get Goose and them at the same time and kind of do a separate spotlight on, you know, both those folks because, you know, obviously. But yeah, that's kind of sidebar. But so as far as let's kind of dive into like the writing part of it now, because that's kind of what I really want to tap into creatively.
Okay.
So we know that you've been writing for, you know, years and years. So how long have you been writing music, Jared?
I wrote my first song, and it was just the learning process of trying to figure out songwriting. But the first one that I wrote, I think I was 19, 20.
Okay. And it's been kind of pretty consistent since then, or?
Somewhat. It's you know, you take Sarah Beth. She writes a song, maybe 10 a day. You know.
Only when I'm on a kid.
So her mind and the way that she writes is just, you know, I would like to see what goes on in there, to see how all that stuff fires and how she comes up with all those ideas.
Yeah.
For me, it's more of a opportunistic type writing. If I hear somebody in a bar somewhere and they say a line and I'm just like, that would be a cool song.
And just
or
clicks,
if I'm
yeah.
in conversation and somebody says something and I'm like, and it just kind of, it's something that'll click.
Yeah.
And
And just kind of rolls from there.
That's
yeah.
kind of where it rolls from. You know, I'll if I hear something at work or hear it somewhere and I'm going to work or whatever, I'll roll that around in my head all day while I'm at work and come up with lines, and I'll pull my phone out and go to notes. Thank goodness for phones and notes.
Oh, that's cool.
And I'll jot stuff down and I'll come off of that, and then when I get to where I've got some calm down time, I'll get my guitar out and sit around and.
Mine's like that. It gnaws at me. I'm like, that's in my head now for 2 days. I should write that down. Or I'll be talking with my buddies on the phone and we'll say something. I'm like, oh, like I have to stop and write down. And I got Sean doing it now, so we'll say something. And he's like, write that down. So it just, you never know. And you mine for songs is what I call it. Like,
Yeah.
I'll watch old episodes of like Golden Girls.
Yeah.
And one of them will come back with like a snazzy comeback. And I'm like, oh, that'd be such a cool song, you know, and just kind of rework it a little bit. But there's a lot to be said for that. And I feel like that's part of our job as songwriters is just to capture, we're basically scrapbooking, you know, like we're just getting pieces of what's going on around us. And I love that. I love the beauty of being able to kind of tell what's going on. And it's just such a hard lesson because painters have it so easy to me.
Yeah.
You know, I'm so envious. They can just be like, I want to paint a sunset. And you're like, that looks like a sunset. We can't do that. Mm-hmm. So, you know, to paint on silence is a really, really tricky thing because you're having to make people think what you're thinking, and you can't do it with, with nothing more than just here, you know, like They put this out in the universe.
You just got like 10 different happy trees and you got time all together.
That's it. I mean, Bob Ross is doing this shit 30 minutes, and I'm going, if you just stick with me for the prequel, you know. But
Well, one of the biggest things is so many songs have already been written, and you don't want to plagiarize somebody else's lines in your song.
Right.
And let's face it, there's only so many ways that you can say that apple on the table is red.
that's it.
Yeah.
You know, so you have to kind of figure out some way of
Saying the same thing different.
Well, y'all do a great job. I mean, I'm telling you, because we're going to dive in. Okay, so at that Moorhead show when I came and watched you, I think at that point you had already surpassed a record. So who did you unseat? You said Frank Sinatra? As far as...
I think so. Frank Sinatra, he put the most out. I think it was in 22 months. It was 8 albums in 22 months. And I did them in 8 months, or in 18 months. And I was like, take it, Frank. But, of course, I can't call him and be like, nah. You know, but it was like one of those little, like, I was real bored in COVID and did a bunch of stuff. I mean, they came out every 3 weeks.
Yeah.
It just...
So not only did you displace one of the most, prolific songwriters of all time, but you beat him by 4 months. So that's pretty incredible.
104 songs. I said, that's basically 2 songs a week. Just, there it is.
Well, that is why you're referred to as the queen, correct?
One of the reasons.
I know, it is unreal to me. And not only...
the postage stamp.
and you're not just like putting out, just anything. Like you're putting out like quality stuff.
Well,
I mean, it really is. Like I am a fan, and I've listened to you for a while. And
I appreciate that very much.
and yeah, it's just like and that's why talking to you and kind of exploring that creative process, just kind of diving into that is such a big deal because, like I said, for somebody to just like put out so much unique content. And just like in such a short amount of time, it's just like I've never seen that before. It's just unreal.
I got real good and pissed off, and just was like, "Here's a bunch of songs."
Hey, yeah, writing from a place of anger is a pretty good spot.
And it's been so weird because it's like I had so much vitriol, like it's just, and I go back and listen, like, man, no one offered me a Prozac at all, like no one. In the course of those 8 albums, was like, maybe she needs a friend, like nobody.
She needs a hug.
Like, she's probably just having a hard time. Like, no. So then I met Sean, and like all my songs became happy. Man, like I was like, what do I do with this shit? Yeah. So it's kind of taken this new road, and I love it.
Yeah.
It's really funny. I always make the joke. He plays cajon for me and runs like my whole life. But I said, I think that Loretta and Doolittle would have got along a lot better had she gave him a tambourine and said, just sit right there and play till I get done.
But that segue has been so. But your segue from going from that raw gritty coming from a place of hurt to that more upbeat sound, like it was that transition was like so smooth, like you don't see that very often either.
Well, thank you. Appreciate that.
So it is impressive.
Well, and I had one of my friends, before I ever started playing out and introducing any of my stuff to the world, I had a friend, and I was sitting around and I was playing him some of the stuff that I'd written. He was like, play a happy one, play a feel-good song. And I'm like,
I don't know.
huh?
Like, what is that?
He was like, play something you wrote that's a feel-good song. And I was like, man, I don't have anything that's feel-good. I was like, everything that I've written is from a point of hurt and, just heartbreak.
Feeling bad makes me feel good. I can't lie.
And
like I have to
it took me a while to get myself into a mindset, to start writing stuff that was a little more upbeat and happier and feel good.
Well, I mean, that's the curse of what we do, though, Jared. I mean, songwriters can't really lie, especially not in our little neck of the woods.
Yeah.
Like, if you're in pain, it's going to say you're in pain. Like, the one thing that our genre of country music is good at is telling the truth.
Yeah.
And sometimes the truth ain't pretty, and sometimes it hurts, and sometimes you call out your best friend of 20 years and say, you've been sleeping with my boyfriend, you should probably quit. But the song needs to be sung.
Yeah.
It may not be what you need to hear, but it needs to be said,
Well, and the thing about that type of song, though, is once you put it out there and other people hear it, they're like, I love that line in that song because that was where I was at, 6 months ago. And you put it into a song, and I feel that.
Yeah.
And that's what it's about.
Yeah.
That's what it's about.
That's the payoff.
No, it's great. I mean, and like I think I've discussed this with I've talked to so many artists just writing for the paper. Obviously this is the first audio video really stab at it. But and one of the things I always broach upon is we kind of writing from that place of pain, and then like the what music serves to do for the person that actually is experiencing the music at that time. It's like I have artists like I went through divorce too. One of the darker, more painful times of my life, and there was like 1 or 2 bands I listened to at that time that was like such a, and monumental part of me just kind of processing, mitigating, compartmentalizing, and getting through that process. And they were such a big impact on me, and like such, have such love for them. But it's like, I can't really go back to them at this point, at this juncture, because, I'm in a different place in my life and it just doesn't hit the same.
I feel the same
But
way.
yeah, it's crazy what that can do, and I love how everybody. Plus, you got the stereotype from a writer standpoint of the tortured artist, and that is just obviously,
And
so
that's kind of our whole jam.
But it's like, leading into that, you can really put out some real bangers.
The deeper the wound, the better the song.
Well, see, it's funny, you say that you can't go back and listen to stuff, and I went back and listened to one of my old Travis Tritt CDs the other day, and a song that I had actually forgotten about was oh crap, it was right on the tip of my tongue. I'm going to be somebody someday.
Oh gosh, that one breaks my heart.
And since I've started putting my stuff out there, and got it on the radio now, and I'm on Spotify and all the streaming platforms, that just come to mind. I'm going to be somebody one day, maybe.
Yeah. No, that's cool, man. I love it. And so you said Travis Tritt. That's going to like segue me into this, because I was trying to pinpoint your influences by listening to the music you've written. I definitely hear some real strong 80s and 90s in there. So who would you say was your biggest influence, and like what, as far as how you put together your music?
I'll go with a backstory. So whenever I was younger, my dad was part of a band, and they played country music. And I was 6, 7, 8 years old, and I would go out to their shows, and I would sit back on the back corner of the stage looking out toward the audience and everything like that. And I would listen to them all play music, and I was just like, man, that is awesome. That's just cool. Well, there were some of them that played original music, and I was like, man, that's neat how they done that.
Yeah.
And in my mind, I was also like, I'd like to do that. But to answer your question, I kind of got off track.
No, you're good.
But back then, it was Merle Haggard, George Jones, Waylon Jennings.
The OGs.
It was all of the big names from back in that time. Let's see, what was his name? Marty Robbins was another one.
Oh, I love Marty Robbins.
And I still go back and listen to a lot of Marty Robbins stuff, because it's just, I love that music. It's just that feel that he put into those songs. And then once I got into my teen years, and kind of started experiencing different styles of music, I went through Metallica, AC/DC, Motley Crue, the rock and roll stuff. But I kept finding myself coming back to country music.
Yeah.
And it was the Alan Jacksons, the Travis Tritts, some of those guys that even kind of bridged that gap in the 80s and 90s, which was Don Williams and, I can't think of his name, and I do a couple of his songs. But anyway, it's kind of, I had like a mix of that 80s and 90s, and whenever I started writing, I really leaned toward the stuff that was in my teen years, that I was out cruising around.
Well, they had the biggest impact on you.
And the Hardys and the Dairy Queen, and sitting out and, just listening to the different music, sitting on a riverbank fishing, and have a CD player out there. It was just, that's what I gravitated toward with my writing.
But it really does come out in your music in a very good and very fresh way. But you kind of hear that, that classic twang that you got when I grew up, in the 90s. I was born in 1990, so I didn't capture a lot of the 80s, but I
feel old.
But I still listen to the 80s country, I just, but my generation was more, in that window.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can definitely hear it, but like, and you present it though in such a, like I said, a fresh and creative and unique new way. And, but I love the fact that, there's a definite impression there and you can pick up on it. And it's neat, kind of like, that's why I like to kind of explore that part of it.
Well, when I worked with all of my friends, and just to give them a shout out, they're all local musicians from this area, everybody that played on my EP. And I'm lucky enough that I get to call all of those guys friends, and was friends with them way before we ever done this album together. And when we went in and started working through my songs, they were like, well, what do you want to go for? Because they all play rock and roll.
Yeah.
And I was like, I just want something that's country. And the lead guitar player was like, I don't know that I can play country. And I said, well, I don't want it to be old school country. I said, I want it to have something kind of like that Sawyer Brown and some of those guys that had like that drive to their country, a little bit of grit, kind of where it bridges that Southern rock and country music vibe there a little bit.
No, I get it.
But still be true to the country music side of it. And we worked for 4 months and practiced on everything. And I think that I got a really good turnout on them.
That's great, man. Because I mean, you said that Tony Todd, I think, is the one that introduced me to you. And Tony's a phenomenal artist.
He is. It's funny. The Jason Hill, the guy at the studio, he said he was a clock, and I said the Kentucky clock. That's what we started calling him. So
no, he's great. I've known Tony for a very long time. My whole life, he used to go to my church. So, but yeah. So let's kind of bridge over here. So as far as your sound, because you have a great unique sound too. Like whenever you come on the radio, that's Sarah.
Yes.
I mean, obviously, there's a lot of crossover and blended sounds, with a lot of these artists and stuff. I mean, don't get me wrong, they're all great.
Oh, yeah.
But, your songs are definitely identifiable. So, who would you say that, your biggest influence, kind of what inspired you to kind of get into it and get rolling?
Well, I always make the joke when Sean will call and book me, they're like, well, who does she sound like? And he's like, well, if Winona joined the Steel Drivers, that's kind of the pocket I live. But, of course, I was already doing music before I was really aware of either of those artists.
Yeah.
So it started out for me just, Mom said I could sing before I could talk, so I was just writing. I was around music my whole life. My babysitters were Pentecostal, and they sang all the time. They always had on the gospel station out of Babel. Yeah. Always on. And I just grew up listening to that harmony and listening to that kind of music. And then at home I was listening to Dad play Van Halen and Bad Company. And Mom was playing Rod Stewart and John Denver, and I'm like, what is going on? So by the time, I thought Dolly Parton was a movie star. I had no idea she was a singer until I was like 8 or 9 years old. So it was just kind of, I always said I was a born songwriter. I just didn't know where I fit. And I still really don't know where I fit. I just kind of play it and see what happens. But Dolly's always been an influence. Like when I figured out what she did and she just wasn't in Steel Magnolias. It's like, she's a hairdresser. Mom's like, she's a singer. I'm like, bullshit.
Sean's an amusement park.
I'm like, you are kidding me right now. So, it was a whole eye-opening thing. And then I got into really, appreciating, my dissertation was about how country music is a form for feminism, how we made it in the business, not because of our big hair and our sequins, but, not in spite of them, but because of them. Loretta always had the big ball gowns, and Dolly had her sequins. And that was what we were there to show up. We got their attention by how we looked and kept it by how we sounded. Yeah. So I love that. I like to embrace that as part of kind of my identity. Is there's not really any songbirds left. Yeah. As far as females go, there's some up and comers. I mean, hell, I'm sitting among a lot of them. Yeah. But we're all the same generation. There's not really anybody between us and Winona or us and Patty. True. And there wasn't a transition. There was just a few little bobbers. And now there's a lot of women that are coming up, and that's great. But there was a little absence there for about 10 years. So I'm trying to figure out, how we all kind of break back into the party, So.
Oh yeah, you're right, and that's probably kind of lends into why Sierra had such a big impression on me when she hit the scene, and I just discovered
it was a void that needed to be filled.
Yeah, I mean, it was I think it was Jeremiah. It was the first song I heard, and but I heard that song, I heard her voice, and I was like, what is this? Who is this person? And then I just immediately started fangirling her, immediately. So
she's so fun. And she's down to earth. And that's what I love is she's like, okay, I had problems with drugs and I don't like my teeth very much, but I wear these sparkly boots. And I'm like, I love this girl. There's no pretense with her. So
no, it's awesome. It's
we aspire to be like that.
She bridges that hippie cowboy gap pretty seamlessly, man. She's right in that pocket. But that's great. See, we're kind of coming upon 40 minutes here. So you want to kind of play a song or two? Just kind of.
Well, sure.
Put it up there, or how'd you want to go about it?
Why don't you have the newest single? Why don't you start, and then we'll go back and forth with it.
And I'll let you choose. We talked about the DQ song. I don't know if you want to do that one, but that was like I said, the DQ song definitely represents, I think, what I'm familiar with and where I grew up, and obviously you too. So.
Yeah.
You obviously know where it's at. You've been there.
Yeah. Several times. I've asked Dairy Queen a few times, to give me some stock. I've bought so many double cheeseburgers over the years. But this one, a little backstory. So back years ago when I had hair on the top of my head and what I had wasn't gray, I had aspirations that there was a girl that worked at the Dairy Queen. I had a crush on her, and I figured I'll write her a song, and I'll go in and play the song, and
I love it.
We'll live happily ever after. And
it sounds logical.
Long story short, without going into a lot of details, she never heard the song, and it went through a lot of different variations that I played around campfires and stuff like that, and then I just put it away for a while. Yeah. And I was actually getting ready to go to a songwriter event. It was like a class. And Verlin Thompson was the guy that was hosting the class. And he's wrote a lot of great songs for a lot of great artists. But we were supposed to bring a song that we worked on or that we were having problems getting written or something like that. And I was going through a bunch of stuff that I hadn't completed or that I wasn't happy with. And
Right.
that song just happened to fall out of the folder because it wasn't in a 3-ring hole punch binder there. So I picked it up and looked at it. I was like, So I kind of messed around with the chord progressions. And when I went to the class, worked with him a little bit on how to start the song off and not have it just drive all the way through.
Yeah.
And come out with what we've got right now.
Well, play it.
So,
No.
so this is the DQ song, and you'll have to forgive me. My sinuses and this Kentucky weather have kind of got me a little bit under. So if it's a little rough, I apologize.
Hey, we'll fix it in edit. You're good.
We'll fix it.
She works at the local Dairy Queen, taking orders and counting change. I stop in there daily just to see her in the drive-through lane. She takes my order for a burger and fries, but that's not all I need. If I could order anything I want, she'd be here with me. If I could make Candy my baby, I'd ask her out today. I'd get up the nerve, ask those words, and we would be on our way. Well, I'd pick her up and bring a couple of bucks, take her for a ride in my pickup truck. Then I'd be as high as that comic called Haley, if I could make Candy my baby. Oh, now she's sure I'm crazy. The truth is, she's probably right. But if I've done my best with this song, I'll be picking her up tonight. Well, I'll come around like 5 o'clock. No, I won't be late. And I'm gonna try to win her heart on our very first date. If I can make Candy my baby, I'd ask her out today. I'd get up the nerve, ask those words, we would be on our way. Well, I'd pick her up and bring a couple of bucks, take her for a ride in my pickup truck. Then I'd be as high as that comic called Haley, if I can make Candy my baby. Well, then I'll be as high as that comic called Haley, if I can make Candy my baby. Thank you.
Love it. It's great. It's awesome. I love that song, man. That really was. I'm really glad that we got to show that one off. I don't know why that one just kind of spoke to me.
Like it. I'm glad you like
It's awesome, and it's definitely going to be one of your, I guess, prolific, identifiable. I don't know what you want to call it. Your hits. Your hits. Hey, Sarah, you have such a buffet to choose from. So I'll let you be the dealer's choice.
Well, just to let the cat out of the bag, you're the first we've told, but I'm going back in the studio in February to put out the next album.
Wow,
Later.
awesome.
So you're going to hear a couple of new ones that no one's heard yet.
Wow,
So,
very cool. Very
you
cool.
ever heard
I'm honored.
that saying, this town ain't big enough for like both of us? I finally was like, I need to write a song about that. Actually, what spawned it was, it don't really matter who spawned it. I just saw that she was in the wrong place at the wrong damn time. I was like, girl.
Love it.
You better leave town. And so it just kind of came out. I went outside and smoked a cigarette. I come back in. Sean goes, where'd you go? I said, I had to write a song real quick. He goes, okay. Like, you were there like 8 minutes. But anyway, so this is going to be on the next album because Sean said so. He's the one that scheduled it.
Very cool. Thank you for sharing this. Appreciate it.
Around here, she been hanging around. You better leave town. Girl, you better leave town. When I get to where you're going, before the sun goes down, better leave town. Oh, better leave town. You do like you should, and you do like you're told. But back it all up and hit the. Yes, I won't be held accountable for others' fine. Oh, you better make time. Girl, you better make time. People say you're dragging my name down. You better make time. You better make time. I'll make sure you never leave this hollow ground. Better make time. Oh, better make time. Feel like you should, and you doing good too. You'll pack it all up and hit the road. 'Cause I won't be held accountable for others' fine. Oh, better make time. Girl, better make time. Say that grief, it is a terrible thing. You better lay down. Oh, you better lay down. For they'll hear your mama's well miles around. Oh, unless you lay down. Oh, you better lay down. If you do like you should, and you do like you should, you'll pack it all up and hit the road. 'Cause I won't be held accountable for others' time. Oh, better leave time. Girl, better leave time. Word round here, she been hanging right. Better leave time. Oh, you better leave time.
Woo! That was great. That was fantastic. That was a good song.
Something new.
I
I
love
think I
it.
learned to think with my eyes open, I'd be in better shape, but I can't do it all at the same time. It's like walking
yeah.
and chewing gum.
That was great. That was I'm looking forward for you sharing that and
Well,
getting that out
thank
there. That's great. That's awesome. The chord progression, all that. I mean, the riff. It was just.
Appreciate
It
you.
was top to bottom.
Yeah, I
Got
like
time for probably one more piece.
I like that dadgad, the way that you do that, because it adds a different flair onto the music instead of just like your typical cowboy chords.
It's just a lot of more open stuff. And
Yeah.
my producer on the fourth album, Brett Harden, showed me that. And he's like, one of these days you're going to learn how to play this. And I was like,
Yeah.
I'm going to learn that during COVID. And I did. And it just kind of stuck. Now there's only like 6 of us in town that play in that anymore. So
Yeah.
Just that resonation, man. It's
it's
awesome.
really fun.
It
It's fun to
just-
watch somebody like hand you a
yeah.
guitar and they're like, I'll tune it back up. And I'm like, I'm going to tune it back down.
Yeah, whenever I would play,
Mess it
kind of like write my own stuff, I would use a lot of that open chord, like, and that's kind of similar progression.
I
that
mean,
slide up
Joni
and down.
Mitchell and,
Yeah.
and Chris Christopherson.
You can't
I mean,
beat it.
just- you can't beat it. There's a lot of open stuff. So.
Oh, Chris, yo, oh yeah.
It just adds a
Rest in
lot
peace.
of a lot of different like flair to the
It's got some
song.
voicings in it.
Yeah, yeah. It just,
So we gonna play next?
Well, I'm gonna go with this one.
We'll do it.
It's another one off of my EP. I hope I can pull it off and do it all right. I felt all right during that last one, so this one's a little higher pitched, but we'll see. This one, I wrote this one. I was going through a little bit of a bad breakup, and I was talking to my mom on the phone, and she said, End of the conversation, you know, it was pouring rain and this, that, and the other. And in the conversation before I got off the phone with her, she's like, "You'll be okay, honey." She said, "Just remember, sometimes the most lonesome sound is when the rain falls down."
Oh,
like
that's
that.
cool.
And I
that.
picked my guitar up and went over and sat down and started playing around and come up with a little chord arrangement. And then the words started flowing and I came up with this one. So this is When the Rain Falls Down. Thought I'd spend life alone, all hope for love was surely gone. But there you were, shining in my life like a beacon in the night. And I was just lucky to hold you tight. When the rain falls down, this old lonesome town, I can hear your voice down the hall. When I close my eyes, I still hold you tight. Lord, I wish you would call. 'Cause it's a lonesome sound when the rain falls down. Well, I don't know where you are tonight, but I hope that you're doing alright. Even though I'm trying not to fall, well, I sure wish you'd call. 'Cause I still love you after all. And when the rain falls down, this old lonesome town, I can hear your voice down the hall. When I close my eyes, I still hold you tight. Lord, I wish you would call. 'Cause it's a lonesome sound when the rain falls down. When the rain falls down, it's a lonesome sound. Yes, it's a lonesome sound when that rain falls down. When the rain falls down. Are you missing me tonight, like I'm missing you tonight? Can't you hear that lonesome sound as the rain comes falling down? Well, it's a truly lonesome sound when the rain comes falling down.
That was beautiful.
Thank you.
That was great, man. Fantastic.
Since we're on that kick, I guess.
Oh, man. The ballad's out.
I'm not giving any intro to this one. I'm just going to be like, here it is. Well, I feel like if I talk too much about it, then I haven't written it right. That's just... Why not? What if I just left? Got in the car with what I got on and drove away. Would I make it any further than the break of day? Before I ran out of gas and I had to turn back. What if I just left? Didn't even know nothing and just disappeared. Would you even notice that I wasn't here? Or would you just carry on? Say I'm glad that she's gone. 'Cause I keep staying, nothing's changed. Got my finger in the game, and I'm trying, but I'm dying. 'Cause you don't know who I am. I ain't her, he ain't you. We ain't what they put us through. But you can't help yourself. So what if I just left? What do I have left? Just some odds and ends and a few close friends, and that's pretty much it. After the last disaster, I don't give a shit. Can't take it with me when I go, and if anyone would know, 'cause I keep staying, nothing's changed. Got my finger in the game, and I'm trying, but I'm dying. 'Cause you don't know who I am. I ain't her, he ain't you. We ain't what they put us through. But you can't help yourself. What if I just left? What if I just left? You could probably stop me if you wanted to, but really there ain't no sense in telling you. I keep staying, nothing's changed. Got my finger in the game, and I'm trying, but I'm dying. 'Cause you don't know who I am. I'm not her, he ain't you. We ain't what they put us through. But you can't help yourself. What if I just left? What if I just left? What if I just...
That was great.
Thank you.
Fantastic.
Appreciate it.
Love that little step up you did there. I don't know. It captures the emotion there.
It's a
good.
little,
yeah. It's like a little half step.
I've got chills.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
They would go from 2
Appreciate
to
that.
3, and yeah, just I don't know what it is, but they really can't, it was raw.
What is that? Somebody said it sounds very foreboding. Like it's like it's,
Ethereal. Like that's what.
like, you're in there,
Yeah.
like something bad's gonna happen, guys.
Yeah,
Like,
as I'm saying, boy, it captures the spirit of that message, though. It was cool, though. It was neat. It was,
So, well, in that song, it's what I'm going to call unisex. It's like the lines that are in there, you know, I could feel those at points in my life, you know, as being a man.
Oh, yeah.
It's the same as what a female.
Oh, yeah.
You know, we all go through that, and that song captures it really, really well.
Thank you.
yeah, that's fantastic.
So we're at the end of our allotted time there, Alex Trebek, or we
I
got.
think we've done pretty well. We've hit about an hour, and that's kind of what I was going for. So I think
Perfect.
So I think we got time for plugs. So y'all tell us where to find your music, upcoming dates, you know, where you going to be playing next, and where, you know, shout it out, whatever you want.
Well, get on SarahBethTerry.com, SarahBethTerry.com. I always have to put the H in there because people misspell it. It's Sarah with an H.
How do you spell it that fast?
Because I've been doing it my whole life. But I'm on all the socials, Sarah Beth Terry Music, TikTok, Snap. No, I'm not on that. Kidding. I was like, no, we don't do that anymore.
That's a fake account?
What's your
No, that's not even me. I'm too old for that shit.
What's your MySpace handle?
My MySpace handle is Sarah Beth Terry Music. It was famous Sarah Beth for a long time. No, I have Facebook and I have Instagram and I have TikTok and YouTube and anywhere that there's music. But if you Google me, apparently there's a bunch of stuff on there about me. So just
There you go.
there it is. But you'll find my tour dates on there, SarahBethTerry.com, and all the new merch and all the new links and all the new videos and all the news and where we're going to be and where we're headed. And sometimes I don't know where we're going until I look at my website. I'm like, what day is today? And it's like, we're going to Lexington. Yeah.
Your tour is pretty aggressive too. Like when I was talking to Jared about kind of getting this organized and stuff, and you kind of floated you, I was like, I looked at that Friday and I was like, oh my God, there's a window.
We didn't actually do it. So we're going to be at the Twisted Cork tomorrow night in Lexington. I think
Solid,
Jared's going to come and play a couple with us tomorrow night. And we always love to get together in this neck of the woods so we can see home folk. But if you're from far away too, we welcome you. Come anytime. So thank you for having us on the show.
Thank you for coming in, man. And like, Jerry, you want to plug your dates real quick?
Where can we find you at, Jared?
Well,
Besides the Dairy Queen.
Well, I can't hang out at the Dairy
If I'm
Queen
not at the
anymore. I'm
DQ,
married.
this is where I'll be.
But you can find me on Facebook at Jared Smith, or you can follow my music page at Jared Smith Music. I'm on Instagram, jared.smith.music. I had to put those in there because evidently there's a lot of Jared Smiths that
Who
play
would have
music. Then you can find me on TikTok at JS Music. Then, if you want to listen to my music, which I hope that you do, I'd really appreciate it. It's on any streaming platform that you can get your music from. Whenever I was putting my stuff out, it gave me an option to put it in some streaming platforms that are overseas across the big water. And I said, you know what? Why not? So
Do it.
even if you see this and you're somewhere overseas and you want to listen to some country
You
music,
wouldn't believe the Renaissance happening in the Europe too right now. with
I have a
Americana
big
music.
following in Australia of all places.
I just interviewed Jack Browning a couple weeks ago,
Isn't that
or a
crazy?
couple months ago. I mean, him and Lance together.
How fun is that? It's
so-
coming back so quick.
it was
it's
so
such
fun.
But I mean, you never know. I mean,
Yeah.
like the other day, I got my you get your statistics every
Yeah,
week
yeah.
from like iTunes and stuff. And it says you had 12 people in Taiwan listening. I'm like, I don't even know anybody in Taiwan.
Well, it's crazy. I think Aaron Boyd's been aggressively touring Europe here
He's
recently
been
and stuff.
killing it, man.
Absolutely
I'm loving
killing it.
watching his Facebook
Yeah.
because it's like, he's like, well, we did this today. I'm like, you turd. You're thinking about like the prettiest thing I've ever seen. But they're so well deserved of it. I mean,
Oh
I
God,
love
yeah.
that.
I love Aaron.
I can't wait to hear the songs that come out of them being on the road over there.
Yes.
Like, because they're like me. They're storytellers. We tell everywhere we've ever been in the songs.
Aaron
So,
was one of my very first artist profiles I did. Yeah,
when I first met Aaron,
Yeah.
he was one of my openers for my big birthday celebration when we did album 6.
So cool.
Remember that during COVID? And
I
it was
remember
like
that.
a big throwdown. But I didn't know half the people because I'd been gone for so
Yeah.
long in Nashville. So when I got to come home for COVID, I was like, okay, who's the new local people? So we had Jen Richardson, we had James Reed, we had
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Jory Bowen, we had Mike Stallings, we had Robinson Treacher came in from New York. So it was so cool to have all of those local people and come in to be like, okay, let's do a party. We've all been stuck inside for like 8 months. Like, let's go do something. So it was really cool to get to dive into their music because I wouldn't have been exposed to it had I not been around a place that featured it on the radio, featured it online. And I'm thankful for that opportunity because that just goes to show you how powerful a medium like this is.
Oh, plus it's a very beautiful community too.
I love it.
Like the network of support among artists and stuff. You know, around here, it's a wonderful thing to see. And I'm just, like I said, I don't really play, pick around and ride as much as I used to. Like, I'm so caught up in the media stuff, but I'm just happy to be a part of it.
Well, we're tickled that you're holding down the fort on the other side too, because if you're like me, I don't know how to use my phone. Like, I have to hand it to
I'm
Sean.
learning. I've learned all the media stuff on the streets. It's like,
I learn on the streets, man. Well, I tell Sean all the time, I'm like, I don't know how to. I'm here. I just hand him stuff, and he's like, "What do you want to say?" I'm like, "We're playing on Saturday." He's like, I'm like, I write the songs. I feel like Barry Manilow. I write the songs. Let him do the net. Like that's it.
Yeah, I'm just honored to be like adjacent to it. Just
I love
be able
it.
to talk to you guys and like I said, hear these stories and stuff. It's great, and I really appreciate y'all coming out. I appreciate you debuting a couple songs in here. That's
Well, thanks.
that's huge for me.
Well,
That's
I
fantastic.
love it's huge for me because they've not been out yet. So,
Yeah, so that's-
maybe by the time this is like, we'll have some more like buzz before coming out of the gate.
Heck yeah. So, but yeah, I appreciate you guys, and like I said, this is episode 1. It's a wrap. We're learning. We're going. This is definitely a I don't know what you call it, like an R&D episode.
I love it.
We were the guinea pigs.
You're the guinea pigs. You're the guinea pigs.
And they're wrong.
But anyway, thank y'all for tuning in, and appreciate y'all coming out.
Well, thank
Thanks
you
for
so much,
having us,
brother.
man. Thank you for doing what you do.
That's
And
right.
cut. I ended with the clap.
That was great.